Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast. Today, man, I wanted to talk to you about what is the purpose of life? What is the overall purpose of your life? There are so many different avenues to try to cover. I'm going to try to keep it quick. I don't want to ramble on too much here. But I wanted to take the approach of talking about two major differences in worldview when it comes to how to analyze what is the purpose of your life. One aspect, or one way to look at it, is what is the theistic view of the purpose of life and what is the atheistic view of the purpose of life. Because think about it like this. To say that there is a purpose to life, but also think that there is no God, or there is no afterlife, there is no end game, after this life is over, it's a wrap, kind of determines what you think your purpose in life actually is. Because look at it like this. If you think that there is no God, there is no judge, there is no afterlife, there is no nothing, like this is the only life you get, and then when it's over, and that's it, then you're going to live your life a totally different way, more than likely. Or at least it's hard to justify living a certain way if you believe there is no God. If there is no God and you're just randomly here, we just evolve, there is no afterlife, there is no judge, there's no ultimate being, there's no nothing. There's just this random chance at life, this random existence, this random personality that you've been given, or that you've just gotten randomly, and then living this life, there really is no reason. There's no good logical reason to live for the long term, meaning there is no reason to follow morals. There's no real reason to care about cooperation with others, because the whole point of this talk is really, I guess, kind of to narrow down why you would even have morality. But it's deeper than that, which is why I wanted to get into what the overall purpose of life is. And everyone is going to have a little bit different view of this, so I don't expect everyone to hear what I have to say and be in full-on agreement. I think that you're probably going to some people are going to look at this and be totally disagreeing. Some people are going to agree, and some people are going to fall somewhere in between. And it's hard to cover everything in one podcast or one topic, especially a quick one. But I want to do the best I can. If you believe that life is random, if you evolve, there is no God, there's no nothing, then how do you even justify or how do you rationalize, I guess is actually the better word, how do you even rationalize what a purpose of life is? Because think about it, if everything's random, if there is no God, it's just some natural events happened and it's this accident and there's no real long-term reason, no long-term like eternity or nothing. If this is the only experience you get, this is the only life you get, and you live a very short amount of time, and we're just molecules in motion, a molecular machine, if you will. We're just here for a temporary time, and then it's over, and then you have no consciousness after this. There's no afterlife, there's no nothing. Then why would you live your life under somebody else's rules? You know, and I understand that in society you have to follow your own city's rules, you have to follow your own state's rules, you have to follow your own country's rules. But beyond that, why would you follow the basic rule of, you know, murder is bad, or stealing is bad, or cheating is bad, or rape is bad, or child molestation is bad? Why would you follow any of those rules if there is no ultimate standard? There is no ultimate judge, no ultimate being, no, nothing to deal with after this life. You know, and it's hard to justify a purpose in life if you think that everything is random and there is no creator, there is no, you're just randomly here. It's just an accidental, random existence. You just happen to be lucky enough to experience an existence at all. Then why, how do you even rationalize a purpose at all? Because in that worldview, you have to look at life and just say, well, everything's accidental. It's all random. I'm lucky enough to even be experiencing this at all. So you might as well enjoy every second of it and do whatever it is that you want and not worry about rules or laws. Live on the edge. Live for yourself. Live to enjoy every second of this that you can, because if under that worldview, this is all you got. This is the only world you got. This is the only experience you get. And so now I want to be very clear. I don't agree with any of this. Everything I just laid out for you, I don't agree with that. I don't even think that that's right or accurate or true or any of that. However, if you're an evolutionist or an atheist, then that's kind of your worldview. Whether you look at it like that or not, that's really ultimately the end. The conclusion is that if there is no judge after this life is over, if there is nobody that you're going to run into or have to see, why would you cater your one and only temporary experience to anybody? Why would you bend to anybody's rules and do anything that anybody wants you to do? Why not enjoy every second doing every little thing that you feel like at all times and not worry about the repercussions, not worry about who has to deal with it? I'm not saying you should do that. What I'm saying is, why don't you do that if that was the truth, if that was the case? But we don't see that a lot of times. And most of the time in society, what we see is people say that they don't believe in God. They laugh it off. They act like it's just a fairy tale. But then they still don't murder or don't steal or don't cheat or don't rape or molest or anything. They still follow this weird moral code that we all seem to know within ourselves, yet they still don't. They still obey it, but then try to rationalize that it's not an actual thing, that society just made it up, and that, society decided that it was better for society, which is a very weird way to put it if you think about it. Society, under that worldview, you have to assume that society's made up morality, that somebody a long time ago just came to the conclusion that what would be best for all of us would be X, Y, and Z. However, I always ask the question, who decided that, and how do you know they were right? I mean, if this was a long time ago, why would you assume anything they said was right? Most of the stuff that they said a long time ago was false, because they had no idea. They didn't know anything. So why would we just agree that whoever mysterious figure decided what's right and wrong, we all just fall in line and listen? Why would you, especially if there is no God or no judge, why would you live for some ancient standard that isn't even that you don't even know who came up with it? It's just, there's a lot of what ifs and unexplainable things if that is your worldview. However, now let's cover the theistic view. If you believe in God, especially the Christian one, the one of the Bible, that's the only one I can really speak on, because that's the only one I believe or know or have read about and I believe exists. But if there's any God at all, any form of afterlife, if there's any form of judge after this life is over, well, then that would make perfect sense as to why we're here at all. It would make perfect sense as to why we live, why we have a moral code, why we actually, like, it would make sense as to who decided what's right and wrong, the standard beyond humans deciding what's right and wrong. That would make a lot of sense. All of those things make sense if God exists. If God doesn't exist, none of that stuff makes any sense. And why you would believe it or follow it at all makes even less sense. Because now you not only can you not prove where it comes from or why it even exists or who decided, but you're following it anyway, which is weird. So the way I look at it is, if you believe that there is no God, I don't really understand how you could justify or rationalize there being any purpose to life. You're just here by random chance. There is no purpose. You can create some kind of purpose in your own mind, I guess, as an atheist. You can say, well, I really enjoy doing this, so I want to make a career in this. But really, is that the purpose of life, is to make a career? Or to find a hobby that you like? Or to enjoy anything? Is that the purpose of life? Like, I guess if what I'm saying is if there is no God, there is no purpose, period. Who would you have a purpose to? Like, what would there, how, like, I guess the point is, like, if you don't believe there's a God and you have a life, how could you even say that there is any such thing as a purpose to life? You're a random accident. There is no purpose to a random accident, right? I mean, logically. So there is no such thing as a purpose to life if there is no God. And if you believe there's no God and you still think that you've created your own purpose, well, then it's all subjective inside your own mind and really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, especially once you're dead and you don't have anybody to answer to because you don't even have a consciousness at that point, right? I mean, logically, all of those things have to fit, I would imagine. And maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But I guess I just don't understand how you could even think logically that there is a purpose to life if there is no life after this life. I mean, you're gone. It's over. The lights go out. Your consciousness is done. You don't even know you're dead. You don't know anything at that point because your consciousness would cease to exist. So therefore, there is no purpose to life. You're just here temporarily and then you're gone. That's of course, if you're an atheist. Now, I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe any of what I just laid out. I don't believe any of that is true. I fully believe that there's a God. I fully believe that there is a purpose to life. And I believe that our purpose in life is to basically get to know God. It's to get to know the Creator that made you. It's to experience all these wonderful things that He created for us to see. It makes perfect sense if there is a God. It makes sense why you would grow up, learn about Him, learn about science, learn about the laws that this random being that you don't believe in created. I mean, think about it. Why would there be any laws of physics? Why would there be any laws of thermodynamics, laws of morals, laws of math, laws of anything, laws of logic? Why would there be any of that? And why would those things that you can't touch or feel or prove, you just know they exist, laws of logic and laws of math exist, and you can't show them, you can't hand them to somebody. Now, you can demonstrate how things in scientifically follow these laws, but you can't show these laws. You can't show them to somebody, like hand them a law of physics. All you can do is show them things in science that happen to follow the laws of physics. So I guess what I'm asking is, why does anything follow any law if there is no ultimate being? Like, why would anything listen or follow a command or have any kind of order if there wasn't some kind of an intelligence putting things in order? Think about it like this. Nothing without an intelligent mind behind it ever has any kind of order to it. A government, a society, everything that you see that has any form of an order to it at all has an intelligence behind it. And so I ask you this once again: how could you have laws of morals, laws of logic, math, physics, thermodynamics, gravity, any of them? How could you have any law if there was no intelligence to create that order? Because nothing just accidentally follows order with no intelligence behind it. And all the examples that you may be able to think of, the answer could be God. Otherwise, the answer is, I don't know. because you have no other answer. It's either God or I don't know is the only logical answer as to why any intangible thing would follow a law. Like, for instance, DNA. Right? DNA, like the proteins, DNA is just carrying information. It is telling the proteins in your body, in the cells in your body, what to do and what to make. Now, who are they listening to? You know what I mean? So it's just amazing to me. I mean, when you look deep into not only philosophy, but the scientific things that we see around us, anything that follows law is following a mind, an intelligence. Every single person, every single thing that follows any law is following an intelligence that made the law. And that's just the truth. I mean, I can't think of one example that doesn't. In any example, you might say, like, oh, well, we don't know that the laws of logic come from God. Maybe the laws come from, quote unquote, I don't know. And that's the reality. There is only two options here. That everything is binary if you think about it. Either the laws of logic and math and thermodynamics and all them come from God, or they come from not God. They come from, I don't know. So either they come from God or they don't. Either God created everything that's in the universe or not God created everything in the universe. Or you could say it, God created everything in the universe or something else created everything in the universe. Either way, it's a binary issue. Everything is a binary issue. It either is or it is not. And it's very simple when you look at anything in those terms. Like Earth is either Earth is the third planet from the sun or it isn't. You know what I mean? Like everything you can break down into binary if you question it the right way. So it's either someone created everything from nothing in the universe or no one created everything from nothing in the entire universe. You see what I mean? Like everything can be a binary issue. So either there is purpose in life or there isn't. And if you're an atheist or an evolutionist, I just don't see, I mean, you can make up and invent your own subjective purpose, and that's fine. But then you really can't say what is the purpose of life. You can say what is my purpose in my life, but you can't say what is the purpose of life. Not if you're an atheist. Not if you're an evolutionist. I mean, I guess if you're an evolutionist that believes in God, but then there are evolutionists that believe in God. So, I mean, I guess it's a different set of worldview standards. You'd still believe in God, if you're an evolutionist that believes in God, you still believe that there's a purpose in life because you believe that God is the ultimate being, the ultimate standard, the creator who made us. And therefore we would have purpose because he created us. Therefore he gives us purpose. However, if you're an atheist, I really want to know what you think the purpose of life is, or how do you rationalize any purpose of at all? You're basically just given a random lucky chance to experience life, and once it's over, and therefore there is no purpose because it's random. You can't find purpose behind randomness. There is no purpose to random. And if you think about it logically, when we say what is the chance or what are the chance, that just means we haven't figured out yet what causes something. Because if you can figure out scientifically what causes anything, then you can predict 100% of the time what is or is not going to happen. Therefore, there is no chance. So when people say that we're just here by chance, that's just a nonsense number that they make up, basically saying, I don't know why we're here. We haven't figured out exactly what caused the universe or what happened here or what did this or what caused life. That's all they're really saying. To say that anything happens by chance is it's actually a BS statement. That's not even factual. Something happening by chance means that something will happen 100% of the time if we can just figure out what caused it. By chance is just saying, I don't know. That's all you're saying. You're going, I don't know. It happened by chance means I don't know what caused it. That's all you're doing. So when we say those things, I just want to be very clear about that, because I think it's very important when people say, I don't believe in God, I think we're here by chance randomly. Well, then I would have to say, no, something caused us. 100% of the time it will, if you do A, B, and C, or whatever. So if you think that some lightning, I guess, hit some primordial soup and caused life, then if you could prove that that's what caused it, then it wouldn't be here. Then we wouldn't be here by chance. We would be here because this, and this happened at this specific time, which caused this, and it will happen again 100% of the time. The problem is we don't know that. We have zero evidence of anything ever causing life. We can create life from the things we see around us, like meaning we can put things together, like we can take sperm and take an egg and put them together and then create life. However, we didn't invent the sperm, we didn't randomly make the sperm, we didn't randomly make the egg. You know what I mean? So we don't know what caused life. It's weird to think that you could have, if you don't believe in God and you think that we're here by chance, quote unquote, or that we're here from some primordial soup, basically by we couldn't predict that the lightning would hit the soup, right? So if you believe that aspect, then how could you possibly think for a second that there is any purpose to life? You got lucky that it happened at all. So I just don't understand how people could justify purpose of life or why life matters at all. And in which case, if life doesn't matter at all, how could you say that morality matters? How could you say that anything like that matters? If life doesn't matter, if we're here by chance, and there is no right and wrong objective standard, if it's all subjective in our own minds and some random person came up with it years ago, we don't even know who it is, what society, why it's good, why we should listen to them. If you don't know any of these questions, which can all easily be answered by God, mind you, but if you don't know any of the answers to any of these questions, how can you walk around life with purpose? There is no purpose. You're just accidentally, luckily here, and you might as well make the best of it and enjoy every second you got. But that being said, I don't agree with that. I think that God made you. I think that you're extraordinarily special to him, whether you know it or not, whether you have a relationship with him or not, whether you care if he exists or not. He actually does care if you exist. And no matter how much you may have written him off in your life, he still wants to come back. It's like any parent. If you run away from home, if you're arguing with your parents and you run away from home and you're mad at them and you don't want to see them, do you think that they just are like, oh, okay, well, they don't want to be around me, I guess we're done then? No. They'll spend every second they can trying to figure out a way to get you back. And that's exactly what God does to you. You can stray, you can dog on him, you can deny him, you can laugh at people that believe in him, you can do all these things. But the second you decide that you want to see him or talk to him or be a part of his life, he gladly will open his arms any second, no matter what you've ever done. The whole objective for him is to know you and for you to know him, and he wants to be a part of your life. That's it. Now, you don't have to believe that. You can think that that's insane or stupid or it's a fairy tale or a, whatever. But I just ask you, why do you live your life a certain way if all of these things that I mentioned are false? If I'm wrong and you're just randomly here and you're just lucky to even experience Earth at all, why does it matter? Why would any life matter at that point? It's just random. And think about it. How could you, we look at all the time, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. We look all the time in the animal kingdom. They do all, like when a lion hunts a gazelle and just beats it down, kills it, and then eats it. Is that murder? I mean, it's easy on the outside looking in to say that was murder. However, if that lion didn't kill that thing and eat and provide for its family, then the lion and its family die off. So therefore, is it murder or is it survival? But we don't ever do that in our society because we don't eat people. Now, some psychopaths do. Some weirdos in like weird cultures think that you're going to gain some kind of strength or power by drinking the blood of somebody that you killed and all. Like they have all kinds of wild, weird stuff that they follow. But that doesn't change the fact that we all know it's wrong to murder an innocent person. It's not wrong to kill somebody in self-defense, because if it's either you or them, you do what you got to do to live. That's not wrong. But it is wrong to go find somebody just walking down the street and just kill them for fun. That's wrong. Now, why is that wrong? And why would it matter? If there was no judge, yeah, it might matter to that person and their family. But in your own mind, if you don't believe there's a judge, there's no afterlife, there's no God, why would it matter to kill them or not? You're not going to ever answer to that, right? You could leave the country. You could kill somebody, get in your car, and just take off right now and leave the country. Never be caught. Why not do that? And I'm not encouraging that, so I don't want to get banned or anything. I'm not encouraging that. I think that's the worst possible thing you could do. I'm just trying to show you why it clearly makes sense that there has to be a God. Even if it's not and I do believe it's a Christian one, but even if it's not the Christian one or the Jewish one or the Muslim one or any of that, there has to be some kind of an objective being outside of us that is beyond us, that is more powerful than us, that has all these ultimate abilities for us to look up to that being and say, all right, your standard is how I must live. That's why we do what we do. That's why murder is wrong. That's why rape is wrong. And I've even posed this question before, and I'll wrap it up. This is the last point I'll make. If you had 100 people left in the world, and 99 of those people were men, and only one of them was a woman, and she didn't want any part of the men. She did not want to have sex with any of them. She didn't want to touch any of them. She did not want to have any children. She wanted nothing. But all these 99 men thought to themselves, man, if she doesn't have a kid, what are we going to do about society? Our society's going to die off. Under those circumstances, is it okay to rape that woman? And the answer every time is no. It's not okay. Even if society depends on it and you are going to run out of people and she's your last hope, it is not okay to rape that woman. Why? Because she doesn't want that, and she's innocent, and she doesn't deserve to have her own body violated like that just because 99 other people vote that it's okay. What I'm getting at when I say this point, I know it's a very dark and aggressive point, I guess, but the reason why I bring this point up is it's very simple. Rape is inherently wrong, no matter what. There is no good reason ever. Even if society is on the brink of dying off, it's still wrong. And nobody has an answer for that if there is no God. Because if there is no God, then why would it matter? Why would it matter how she feels, right? But the reality is she's not okay with it. So therefore, if you do something that a person is not okay with and you do it to them, no matter how many people vote on it, you could have 1 million people vote that it's okay. If it's wrong in her mind and she doesn't want it, you cannot force yourself on that person against her will. You can, but it's still wrong. Even if society desperately needed rape, it is still wrong. Every single time, guys. Where does that moral standard come from? There is no society where it's okay. Like I said, you can have 99 people in any society say, yeah, let's do it. I think it's okay. But if it's wrong to the one person, if it's wrong to her, then it is inherently wrong as a whole. Now, if she all of a sudden, now here's the difference. If she all of a sudden changed her mind at the last minute and said, man, if I don't do this, society's going to die off, I guess I'll do this. Well, then that's not rape. At that point, she's now allowing, even if she may not be favored, if it's not favorable to her, but if she agrees, then it's no longer rape. The point that I'm making is if she does not agree to it, even knowing that it's going to wipe out society and this is the end, she's the last hope for all of mankind. If she doesn't have a kid, it's a wrap. Everyone's dead. You still cannot rape her. It's still wrong. And I'm sure somebody still would. And that's the thing, guys. I'm not saying that because we know something's wrong, people won't do it. You got 99 men. I'm sure some of them are going to want to rape her regardless. Whether they're even trying to have kids, they're going to want to rape her anyway, because you're going to have some evil people out there. But that doesn't change the fact that we all know from the outside looking in at that, we all know that it would be wrong to rape her, even if society absolutely depended on it. So I ask you this. If we evolved, if there is no God, if there is no actual objective morals, and just some society came up with it, and all we are is just molecular machines that are just here to reproduce and make more and more and more, then why on earth would rape ever be wrong? It seems to be it's the easiest, fastest, most efficient way to keep the population going. But we see that it's not okay, and we know it's not okay. So therefore, what I'm saying is that I believe that there's many points that I believe point to God, but that one specifically, I think, is one of the most ultimate points that you can make to prove that there is some kind of a God out there. Now, at this point, just making that one point, I can't possibly prove it's the Christian one. It's Jesus or anything, right? I can't prove that. What I can prove, though, or at least in my mind, it seems to be easily the most logical explanation. I can't prove it physically. I can't hand you this and say, see, that's a fact. What I can do, though, is say logically in your head, you know that no matter what, it is always wrong to rape or child molest. There is no logical, good reason why it's beneficial or a good thing to rape or molest children. Never. There's never a good reason for it. And if you ask me, child molestation is even more of a point than rape is, because at least with rape, there is the possible outcome of a child, of reproducing and carrying on the, carrying on the species. There is never a good reason for child molestation. There's never a good reason. Now, the only thing I can think of that would be, and it's not even molestation, would be if a doctor needed to see like a child's, genital region or something for science or for some kind of doctor or healing or something like that. But that's not molestation. We know that. There is never a reason that molestation is ever okay. And we know that. And yes, guys, it's just as uncomfortable for me talking about it as it is for you to hear it. But I think these points are relevant. I think they must be made. Sometimes the toughest things to say hit the heart, are the most, point-driven examples you can give. And that's why I wanted to bring that up. But guys, that's all I have the time for today. I'm sorry to end on such a sour, dark note, but I just want to make that point, guys. There is purpose to life. There is a God, in my opinion. I can't physically show him, but there are several things logically that point to the existence of God. And that's what gives purpose to life. If you're an atheist, there is no purpose to life. There's just whatever you feel like doing, and then you can call that your purpose for your life, but there is no ultimate purpose of life. And what I want to know is, if life started, and we have no idea where it started, how it started, where it came from, if there's life anywhere else in the universe, we've never seen it. We still have no idea if there actually is. We're still trying to prove it in 2020. With all the science and all the technology we have, we still can't possibly prove that there's life anywhere else in the universe. So why is there life, and what is the purpose of it? That's it, guys. I love you so much, and I thank you for listening. If you want to leave a voice message, you can do that through the Anchor app. I thank the Patreons and all that are paying now. That's awesome. You know who you are. I love you guys, and thank you so much. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can leave the voice message through the Anchor app, and you can get a hold of me on Snapchat or YouTube at Really Rich. You can get a hold of me at LinkedIn at Adam Rich, founder and host of Really Rich Podcast. You can get a hold of me on Instagram at Really Rich Podcast or AJam Rich. Facebook, Adam Rich. What else here? What do we got? What's another one? Why am I blanking on? Oh, Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter a whole lot, but you can reach me on there at Really Rich Adam. And the last one, the one I'm on more than anything, TikTok, guys, please find me on there. It's Adam Rich, ITS Adam Rich, no apostrophe, all lowercase, no spaces, no none of that. So I love you guys, and I thank you again for listening, and I will talk to you soon. All right. Peace. I'm out of here.